Honored to introduce our guest speaker, Justin Osmond. Justin Osmond knows firsthand what it's like to live in a world without sound. The second son of Merrill and Mary Osmond, Justin was born with a severe, profound sensorial neural hearing loss. He endured 12 years of intense speech and listening therapy, and through modern day use of technology, he was finally able to hear life's precious sound for the very first time. Justin went on to play the violin, viola, piano, and drums. He has received numerous awards, including Sterling Scholar in Music, academic scholarships, and many athletic titles. He earned a master's in business administration and is also a proud Snow College Badger. Justin currently runs the Olive Osmond Hearing Fund, a charity he founded that helps give the gift of hearing to deaf and hard of hearing children around the world. He also operates a production company called O2 Events and Productions, where he travels the world helping the deaf and hard of hearing in underdeveloped countries. Having shared the stage with the likes of Jay Leno, Oprah, Garth Brooks, Billy Crystal, and many other celebrities, Justin's unique message inspires and motivates his audiences. In his recently published book, Hearing with My Heart, he shares his story in order to help people understand the struggles of being hearing impaired and how to overcome them. He lives every day by his personal motto: I may have a hearing loss, but that loss does not have me. Now please join us in giving a warm Snow College welcome to Justin Osmond.
Thanks, Chris. Let's hear it for Chris, huh? All right. Hey, guys. Good to be back. Chris, thank you for the intro. Leah, thanks for inviting me to come back. I usually start off with a joke, but as I was in the back thinking about it, I didn't think it was appropriate. So I asked Chris and Celia for a joke, and now I have 3 jokes that are not appropriate. If you want to know what they are, you can go talk to them later on. But guys, I am so glad to be here. Guess what? I am a Badger. I am a Snow College Badger. In fact, oh yeah. I have so much fun here at Snow College when I was sitting in your seat. I remember I made a goal that someday when I get married, I'm going to convince my wife to move back to Ephraim. And guess what? I went down to Arizona, I kidnapped my wife, and I live back here in Ephraim. So, thanks, sweetheart. Anyway, it's good to be back. Let's get started. I want to share some things with you guys. Hopefully you'll leave today feeling more inspired, and of course, to be able to challenge the limits that we have every day. But I'd like to start off with a question. Imagine life without sound. Imagine life without the comforting voices of your family and your friends. Imagine life without music. That would be difficult. Imagine life without being able to hear the TV. Imagine life not being able, when you go to a movie, not being able to hear or to be able to understand what's going on. Imagine life not being able to hear, talk to your friends on the phone. We do that every single day. Imagine life not being able to hear the beautiful sound around us. This is one of my favorite. Just right up the street, there's this elk farm. I'm sure many of you have seen it, but I love when the elk bugle. But imagine not being able to hear that. My all-time favorite, many of you probably don't know, but we have some beautiful waterfalls right up Ephraim Canyon. And it's my favorite thing to do, to go up there. Imagine life not being able to hear the beautiful sound of water and the waterfalls and rivers and things like that. Imagine life without sound. Hello? Imagine life without sound. That's what I went through my first 2 years. I was born deaf. Of course, I wasn't diagnosed until 2 years later, but for 2 years I lived in a world void of sound, no sound, no nothing. I remember I went to my dad's concert in New York Madison Square Garden, sold out, and I remember sitting on the front row and I couldn't hear a thing. It was different. It was very different. I'll be honest, over time, 2 years later, I got some hearing aids, and technology keeps getting better and better. It's nice sometimes when my wife yells at me, I can just turn my hearing aids off, right? And this is my sweetheart. And sometimes a little at nighttime, he's such a menace. He'll start barking throughout the night. But I have my hearing aids off, and I can't hear a thing, and I'm sleeping right through the whole night. So sometimes it has its advantages. But then my wife punches me and gets me up in the middle of the night, stuff like that. But it all started when I was 2 years old. My sweet parents took me in, and they got me the best technology out there. I remember it was so difficult. Technology back then, 35 years ago, isn't like what it is today. In fact, hearing aids, they had wires coming out of my ears, and then had a big box on my belt. And through elementary school, middle school, high school, and even into college, right here at Snow College, I remember one time in the humanities building, my professor had a box around his neck, and I have mine. It was almost like an FM system, so I could hear what my professor was saying. I'll never forget the day the professor left the classroom to go to the bathroom. And you know where I'm going with this. I could hear my professor going to the bathroom. But anyway, it was fun because I could hear everything he was saying and what he was talking about. But it was hard. It was really difficult. I had a hard time accepting my hearing loss. But now, of course, you learn and you grow and you learn to accept for who you are and the challenges that we have, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more. But I've also learned that I'm not alone. There's a lot of people out there, and no matter what struggles and challenges you go through in this life, there's so many people out there that also wear hearing aids. Kevin Costner, Billy, Kurt Russell, Buzz Aldrin, the first guy on the moon, Vic Van Dyke, Warren Buffett, the Texas Ranger, the Osmond family, Willie Mays, and the Incredible Hulk, which, by the way, he's my buddy, the Incredible Hulk. Did you know that he has a very profound hearing loss? In fact, his story real quickly, he got picked on when he was younger, and so he got big and strong, kind of almost like a payback. And if you notice, I always like pointing this out. I'm lifting more weights than the Hulk. Love that. But anyway, so there's lots of people out there that go through these challenges, and you're not alone. So that you're taking this class because you're trying to find out your purpose. Maybe you're trying to figure out what kind of a career you want to do, or perhaps what your future may entail. And so I admire you for that. I always love this. We have two ends in life, think with and one to sit with. Which one we use in this life will determine how well you do in this life. In other words, heads you win, tails you lose. So my goal today is to head and to challenge your limits instead of using our rear end and limiting our challenges. So that's kind of the goal for today. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. But I'm going to ask you a question. If you had a choice, and think about this, maybe someone's asked you this question before, but if you had a choice, completely deaf, don't hear anything, or to be completely blind, can't see anything. If you had to make that choice, what would you choose? And if I were to guess, 99.9% of all of you would rather be deaf so that you can see, right? Because otherwise you can't drive, you can't see the beautiful earth around us, right? Well, there was someone we've all heard of, it's Helen Keller. She experienced both deafness and blindness, right? She was asked that same question. She said, you know what? I want to hear. I'd rather be blind and be able to hear. And so it tells you it's quite a challenge for both of them, of course. But she says that deafness separates people from people. Blindness separates people from things. Is that interesting? Anyway, it's an interesting thought. Ask yourself that question, Tom. You can even talk about it. But I always love this. This is what I had to learn as I grew up. Wires sticking out of my ears. I struggled to find out who I was instead of what I was. Who I was, meaning this is who I really am, instead of how the world views me. And if I do that, so much happier, just like this guy. Um, but you know what it is, though? There's not much we can do about our appearance, but there's much we can do about the kind of person that we want to become. And that's really what this life is about. And I deal with a lot of deaf people, and they have a very low self-esteem. And perhaps, of course, that applies to a lot of us. But if you just learn to accept yourself for who you are, I love being deaf now. I love being able to turn my hearing aids off and enjoy the quiet, has its pros and cons. Having that opposition in all things is a beautiful thing. A friend of mine sent this to me. I like this. He said, once you've accepted your flaws, no one can use them against you. Why? Because you accepted yourself for who you are. This is who I am. I'm proud of it. I love it. Nobody can change it. I own my life. I love this. For all you cowboys out there holding one of them, I'm sorry, but sometimes we just have to accept the inevitable, meaning you'll never be as cool as a bull riding monkey. You'll be on the bull longer than anybody else. Meaning, sometimes we just have to accept the fact of what it is, reality. I'm deaf, so that's okay. I had a hard time accepting that for a while. But once I did, I was so much happier. But it's all an attitude, right? It's how we look at it. And I love dogs. But I wanted to share this with you. The only disability in life is a bad attitude. I remember not too long ago, I took a good friend of mine out to dinner. We had a good old steak dinner. I've known this guy for so long. And at the end of our steak dinner, I said, isn't that the best steak you've ever had? And I think we were at Texas Roadhouse. And he responded and said, that's the same steak I've always had. And I said, what do you mean by that? And guys, he's 45 years old. And this is what he said. He says, I know you've known me for a long time, but I don't have any sense of taste. I can't taste this nice root beer. I can't taste his steak. I can't even taste his roll with the honey butter on it. I can't taste any of it. In fact, I've never tasted. I have no idea what food tastes like. But just because I can't taste doesn't mean let that get in the way of enjoying a nice meal. I've known this guy for so long, I never knew that about him. He was one of my best friends. Again, attitude. It's all how you look at it. It's all how you perceive life. This little girl, I was down in Guatemala. Imagine this for just a second. She was in a queue, a line, to come from hearing aids. And she always had a smile on her face. And when she came up, we fitted her with some hearing aids, and she just lit up like a Christmas tree because she was for her first time. But as I was talking to her, I know a little bit of Spanish, but I had an interpreter with me. But if you look at the picture closely, her knees, she was born with her knees bent the other way. So if you're sitting on a chair right now, of course your knees automatically bend that way, so you have a comfortable sitting position, right? Bless her heart, her knees were born the other way. Imagine that. But you know what? She was in such a good mood. She accepted herself for who she was, and she was able to enjoy life. I speak to a lot of different elementary schools and middle schools, and I try to help them understand that sometimes people on wheelchairs just get around more. People wear braces, a more beautiful smile. People wear glasses so they can see better. And of course, people wear hearing aids so they can hear better. They're no different than anybody else. In fact, people that wear technology like myself, we're also not alone because the Iron Man also wears technology. And he uses technology to do good. And so it's a good thing. So challenges can be turned into something positive for good. I love this. The difference between who you are and what you want to be is what you do. Remember how I talked about earlier about you're here for a purpose, right? I love that you came here. You didn't have to come, but why are you here? Because you have a desire to do something. And so what do? You come here, you apply action, and you're going to get lots of great results from this. And I love that. I see myself in your shoes a long time ago, and I'm proud of you. I think I saw a billboard yesterday coming down from Salt Lake. The snow college, the best college in America. How cool is that? Yeah? That's awesome. And so basically, here's what it is. The challenges do not define you. You define your challenges. So in my case, my hearing loss does not define who I am. I define what my hearing loss is, who I am, what I want to be, and I own my whole life. So like my motto that Chris was just saying earlier, I may have a hearing loss, but that hearing loss does not have me. Your challenges are, it doesn't have to have you. So as we go through these challenges, we have to keep ourselves right. We've got to keep ourselves going. And one of the things I love about this is it's good to have ups and downs, because if you don't, you're dead, just like it says right there. But one thing that helps me is being of service. Now, right now you're in school, and you're getting a great education. You're starting to build credibility in what your profession is going to be. I hope that whatever you end up becoming in your profession, that you always make room for service. And I'll tell you why. Because it changes lives, not only them, but yours as well. And just a couple stories. I've been very blessed to be able to travel the world. I've been to over 100 countries around the world, helping children with the gift of hearing. Someone gave me a chance to be able to speak, to be able to hear, and so kind of my way of wanting to pay it forward. But a great story. This young boy right here was in Vietnam, and he was struggling in elementary school, couldn't hear. We went in, got him some hearing aids, and he barely got to elementary school, did a lot better in middle school. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited to tell you that he graduated from high school as the valedictorian of his high school because he could hear. Again, it feels good to make a difference. There's lots of stories, but I'm short on time. But I want to tell you really quick on this one. This guy is 18 years old, and he's 8'5" tall. That'd be cool to have him on the Snow College basketball team. But anyway, you can see he's a giant. He's a living giant. He's sitting down right now. So you can kind of see how big his ears are. He's only 13 years old. And he was down in Nicaragua. But anyway, I wanted to share a little video with you. I put together just a short video clip. I want you to watch this video, and I want you to see and watch these little kids that have never heard before. Remember I was talking about earlier, I was talking to mute? That's what, and they live in a world, no music, no television, no cell phones, no nothing. And all of a sudden, they put these hardwired devices in their ears, and they just light up to a whole new world. So sit back and watch this little video, and we'll go from there. And I dedicated this to my grandmother when she passed away, so, and the charity, I'll talk a little bit about that.
Never heard the crashing waves upon a sandy beach.
Some battery? That'd be great. Thanks. Um, isn't that neat? So when I was saying earlier, I hope you put some service um, as part of your profession because it changes lives. Isn't that neat? I love this photo right here. I don't know if you saw him. He was just jumping up and down, so excited. He was in India. And a really cool story from this one. The mother of this young boy came up to me with tears in her eyes. And she said, "Is there any way you can take my little boy back with you to America?" And I was stunned. I was like, "Whoa, I don't think I can do that." Uh-oh. Anyway, so if we can just apply service, that'll be a wonderful thing. So. There we go. We'll get this back up. There we go. Sorry, guys. One more. Put it back up 1 second. Anyway, so, and then the mother that actually came up to me afterwards, and he said this, and I want to pass this on to you guys. He said, "I hope you never measure your life by the days you have lived, but by the smiles you leave behind." Isn't that cool? And so that's what motivates me. That's what keeps me going. Thanks, pal. Thanks, buddy. Give me a round of applause, huh? Yeah! Good man. And so that's what I was saying. Imagine, it changed my life, you guys. And guess what? I learned all of that right here at Snow College. All my professors taught me everything I know. So thank you, guys. I appreciate that. So having said that, take what you learn and you want to share that with your friends and your family, which is one of the reasons what I do today. We're all unique and different in our own little way. And that's okay. It's okay to be different. I stood out like a sore thumb when I was little. I still stick out like a sore thumb sometimes. But it's okay. Accept yourself for who you are. You're so much happier doing so. It all started for me when I was a Boy Scout. I wanted to be an Eagle Scout. And for those of you who are Eagle Scouts, you understand you got to do a service project. And I remember I wanted to do some service to help somebody else, and a good friend of mine named Robert needed some hearing aids really bad. And I remember going out there and knocked on the doors in my neighborhood, and I raised enough money to buy a new set of hearing aids for my friend. I'll never forget the day he came into the office. I handed him his new pair of hearing aids, and he started to cry, and I started to cry, and the change that was wrought in his life brought a change to mine. And I was like, you know what? That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do with my life. I want to be able to help other people hear. And so at an early age, I was very lucky to be able to find out what I wanted to do as a profession for my job. And so for all of you guys out there that are still trying to figure out what you want to do, dig deep down inside, look at your passion, what you want to do, and follow that. And you'll be so much happier. Jay Willard Marriott, a good friend of our family, and my dad are bored at one point, but someone asked him how he became so successful in business. He said, "I'm not smarter than anybody else. I just simply surrounded myself with people that are smarter and better than myself, and I saw an opportunity and I took action." And so that's simply what I did. I saw an opportunity, like, you know what? That's what I want to do. I want to help people hear. And so I went off and I started the Olive Osmond Hearing Fund in honor of my sweet grandmother. And I love going out and helping people hear. It's the greatest feeling for me. It motivates me. And for those of you who are interested, would like to volunteer and be a part of something like this, come talk to me afterwards. We can keep you busy, I'm sure. And I put something together called Run for Hearing. And I'm so excited. We do run events all across the country. We raise money and we help local children right there. But I just talked to my buddy Sean Kerr, and I decided to take on myself a challenge. And sometimes I think I'm pretty crazy for doing this. But I'm going to be running 250 miles in 7 days And this will be, and I'm going to be helping 10 deaf children. And I love this part. I'm starting right here at Snow College. I'm going to be running all the way to St. George. So, yeah, call me crazy. My wife still doesn't think I'm going to make this happen. But Sean helped me. Thank you, pal. But yeah, it'd be fun to have everybody involved with that and be a part of that, but again, for a good cause. And then, of course, never give up. There were so many times in my life, you guys, that I just wanted to give up. And I didn't think a hearing aid was going to come out where I could be able to hear and understand. I felt isolated all the time. I felt like I couldn't fit in. But here's what this is so true. When an ordinary man finds an excuse, a courageous man finds a way. And I believe that everybody here in this room, the fact that you came here, you took action, which means you're finding a way. You will find a remedy to any challenge and solution that's out there. I love this. Never give up on your dreams. Keep your eyes set on that goal, and you keep on going. So I think I've got time. I think I'm good on the time here. But I was told, remember I was talking about who you are and what you are? A lot of times people told me what I am, which isn't really who I am. I was told I could never play the violin. I was told I could never play the piano. I was told I could never get up and do public speaking. I mean, this is the last thing ever. I was in high school. I was voted the shyest kid in high school. That's not a very good title to have. That's like the biggest nerd. But I was able to accept myself for who I was, and thanks to wonderful parents, wonderful professors here at Snow College that believed in me, instilled in me a sense of hope, a determination, and almost like a fire that I had. And so I was part of the Snow College Orchestra, and I was able to go on and conquer things that I was told I could never do. So just because I'm deaf doesn't mean I can't sing or dance, even though I don't have the best singing voice, but I could play the violin. And you know how I learned to play the violin? Because I don't have the best intonation. I didn't learn to play it by hearing it. I learned to play it by feeling the vibration. You know, that's how Beethoven, when he played the piano, he became deaf, and he put a bar next to his bone so the vibration and the conductive vibration would go to the brain. Because that's how we hear. We hear with our brain and not necessarily our ears. But if it's okay, I think I've got a little time here. I want to play a little music for you, if that's okay. We're a little bit country and a little bit rock and roll, but we're a little bit of classical music. I love this violin. It's become a part of who I am. And many times in my life, I have felt like this violin. And perhaps many of you have felt the same way. And it goes like this. 'Twas battered and scarred, and the auctioneer thought it barely worth his while to waste his time on this old violin. But he held it up with a smile and he said, "What am I bid for the old $1? And who'll make it two? $2 once and three. $3 once and $3 twice and going and gone." But no. From the back of the room, a gray-haired man came forward and he picked up the bow and wiping the dust from this old violin, he played a melody pure and sweet, even as killing angels sing. The music ceased. Thank you. The music ceased, and the auctioneer, with a voice that was quiet and low, said, "Now, what am I bid for the old violin? $1,000? And who'll make it two? 2,000 once, and three. $3,000 once, and 3,000 going twice, and gone," said he. The people cheered, but some of them cried. "We don't quite understand. What change its worth?" Swift came the reply, "The touch of the master's hand." And many a man with his hearing out of tune, and battered and scarred with a life void of sound, is auction cheap to the thoughtless crowd, much like this old violin. A glass of wine, a game, and he travels on. He's going once and he's going twice. He's going and he's almost gone. But the thoughtless crowd, they never quite understand the worth of a soul and the change that is wrought by the touch of the master's hand, or the touch of the professors of Snow College, or the touch of my parents. I share that with you guys because when I was younger, I felt like that violin. I felt like $1. My so low. I didn't think I could go out and do things. I didn't think I could do what I'm doing today. But someone came and touched me, believed in me, gave me that hope. I went to school. I listened to my instructors, and they taught me how to succeed in this life. And now today, I feel like $1,000,000 on a good day. So I share that with you guys because maybe some of you guys out there are struggling with something, whatever it may be, whatever the challenges that you may be facing. It's okay. It's okay to have those challenges, but just do not let those challenges have you. I love this. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. And we, as the Badgers, are tough, right? We are tough to beat. And I love that. I love this. Don't do this at home, but aim high, right? What's the worst that could happen? I love Scrat. And why do I like Scrat? It's because I bet you anything in the next Ice Age movie, he's still going to be going after that acorn. Why? Because he never gives up. And we're the same. Whatever that goal that you have in mind, whatever, keep going after it and don't let go. I love this one. Nothing is impossible. I love the word impossible because if you just separate it, I am possible. Because it's true. Remember, some people told me I could never do this. But that's how the world says it. But listen to who you are and not what you are. You may have the challenge again, but don't let the challenges have you. But continue to listen with your heart. I wrote a book about my hearing loss. If those of you who are interested, you're more than welcome to go read that. But I wanted to share this one last thing with you guys. I love this little video. I want you to watch this young boy and just ask yourself the question, why is he motivated? Okay? Isn't that neat? Why was he motivated? Remember, he's never heard before. Now, keep in mind, sometimes it's a very scary experience for kids that they're taken into a world of no sound, and all of a sudden they're hearing a world that's so crazy noisy. It's a very scary experience. But for the most part, many of them love it. And they're a lot like that. And it's life-changing. But here's my challenge. My challenge is just like this little boy is motivated because he could physically hear. My challenge to you is that you learn to listen more with your heart. And then that'll motivate you to challenge your limits and not to limit your challenges. And then watch out. You'll reach your greatest potential. You'll reach your greatest aspirations. And it's a great feeling. I appreciate your time. Thank you for letting me be a part of it. Thank you for letting me come back to my old stomping ground of snow college. So thank you guys for your time. If you have 5 minutes, let's see, how much time do we have? About 5 minutes. If you have some questions and answers, questions, hopefully I have an answer. But any questions you guys like to share? My mom and dad, you guys don't count. Yeah, Sean.
I want to ask about the run because we've talked about this, but when are you thinking of doing this? And
Okay, so he asked the question, when am I going to do this 250-mile run? It'll be in May. So the second week of May. Is that Christy? Oh, the first week of May. Are you guys still here in May? That's probably right in the middle of your finals, huh? Okay. Yeah, don't let me be a distraction. Stay focused. But yeah, right in the middle of May. So, thanks, Sean.
Can you play the piano for us?
You know what? I didn't prepare anything at the moment, but that's okay. Maybe arrange it. Oh, is that Sister Baker?
Yes.
Ah, I'll play for you another time if that's okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Take the rest of the day off.